You're welcome.
Thank you.
I know it is an emotional moment because these things that we are sharing may appear as stories to people, but to us it is a real life. We went through it. So yeah, just feel encouraged. We overcame the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So tell us, I know the journey has not been easy, but yeah, she was a victim of witchcraft. Yeah, and I know her testimony is going to help someone that has been victimized by a witch or a sorcerer. She was victimized for over 10 years, and by the grace of God, today she's delivered, and she's here to help people that have been victimized by the enemy. So kindly give us a background of your life. Tell us about your family.
Wow. Thank God so much. As I do, I'm the mother of Erica, Bernadette Waiswa, Bernadette, whichever name you want to call me. I come from a Christian background. My mother, my grandmother, the mother of my mother, was, the family were Christians, were saved, and that's where I grew up from with my grandparents. But by that time, those people were very old. We used to see old people, but the youth, the children were not there. Because at the time I was with them, I was in primary 2. And up to primary 7, I lived with my grandparents. They were saved. They loved Christ. But for us, we feared them because they used to testify a lot. And we used to think for them, they testify because they were grown up and they had a lot, many sins they had committed. So we let them go. Yeah. But when after primary 7...
After primary 7, there is a point in your life where you were going to become a nun. So I want, you were a Catholic, he was also going to become a father.
Yeah.
Yes, okay?
When I was in primary 4...
You were going to miss a daughter like me.
When I was in primary 4, we went, I was a staunch Catholic, my father was a Catholic, but my mother came from a Protestant background.
Okay.
So they got married in church. So she became a Catholic also. But when I was in primary 4, I was supposed to become a nun. I was supposed to go to Kenya, to Kakamega, to be discipled as a nun. But when I went, my mother was happy about it, my father was happy. When I met my sister, my elder sister, she laughed at me and she said, I pity you, Bena, you never have children. You never have children. To become a nun, you are cursed. If I were you, I would just deceive those people and I give it up. Please, don't go there. You lie to them that you know they have chased you from, they have stopped you from joining. I thought about it, said, I assure you will never get children.
Thank God for her. Because,
and I loved children, really. I said, I was a young girl, primary 4. And when I went home, I was sent home to take my parents to go and sign some documents at the mission. But that was the end of it. When I reached home, they asked me, how is it? I said, no, the father had said I shouldn't go. I think I'm not qualifying. I took my sister's advice. And they were really disappointed, but at least that one I jumped. And I thank God I never joined. So I continued my journey. After primary 7, I went back to stay with my people. And I went to Kampala. When I went to Kampala to my uncle's place, my uncle was saved. He was a saved man. He used to preach to us, but all the same, he was also old, like my mother's brother. But one day he took us to a crusade, and I saw the youth, the younger children, the young, the old, were getting saved. So I also gave my life to the Lord. And since then, that was 1980.
Wow.
I started following the Lord. I went to a training school. I'm a nursery teacher. I went to a training school. I trained. I taught in many schools. I love the Lord so much, really. Then one day, I had to go to Luwero. teach. That's when I met my husband. That's New Hope Uganda, child care, world care. That's where I met my husband and we got married. But when he brought me home to show to his mother never liked me because I'm not of his tribe. I'm of a different tribe. That one disqualified me.
And also you were prayerful.
I used to pray. She had wanted someone who could practice witchcraft, but that was out of me. For me, I knew no witchcraft. So she hated me, but he protected me. Mothers always protect, sons-in-law, husbands, protect your wives. Protect your wives from whoever. At least your marriage will survive.
Thank God my husband protects me, and
my husband protected me. Nobody, he could not allow anybody to talk about me. He told me, if you want to be near me, talk good of my wife. But if you don't want to talk about her, you don't talk bad of her, then leave me alone. So they were very careful, and he never listened to them. To this day, he protects me. And I thank God for that. So we got married, and I thought, my mother-in-law was a trained, I think it was a trained witch. She could show you that she loves you with smiles, gifts, but behind you, she could do something else. So we went to Luwero. That's where I got Erica from. And the time when I got her, I had to name her. But my husband, he was in the hospital when I was delivering Erica. That's one thing. He also acted as a midwife. So when I delivered Erica, the first thing he did was to dedicate her to the Lord. He prophesied over her, he prayed over her, and that was it. So whatever she went through, his prayers mattered a lot.
So you named me Belinda, and you named me Erica. That's where the Erica Belinda comes from. Yeah.
So for me, because I'm Bena, I wanted a B. So I named her Belinda. And for him, he's Emmanuel, so he named her Erica.
Yeah.
And then another name was Mukisa. Mukisa means blessing. And the grandmother also named her Mukisa. We didn't know how it came, and also named her after herself. Her name was Bakayagala. That's the name they call the villagers call Erica. They call her Bakayagala, which means beloved. So you come to our village there, you ask for Bakayagala, you get to her. She's the only Bakayagala there. Yes. Yeah, that's the name they call her, the village. That was the grandmother. Now, when I got Erica, my in-laws told me that I got Wedeth. Erica is called Wedeth, and indeed she's Wedeth. That one I cannot deceive. She's a blessing. She has blessed many. She has blessed the village. She's looking after the elderly, and she's the children. She's supporting the children.
Over 200 families.
For sure. That was a prophet. A prophet, I should say. They called her Wednesday. And I was looking at a little child, and then life started going through a very hard time, as my husband mentioned, in Luwero. We had to live in Luwero. Things were not good for my husband. Everybody hated him. We came to Jinja. We lost everything we had in Luwero because we left our things in Luwero, but we never got anything. So we had to sleep down. When I see people sleeping down on mattresses without beds, I remember myself. We had no saucepans. Everything was taken away. We came to zero. We went to the village, and in the village, life was hard. As my husband said, I'm not going to repeat that. He told us we have to move to town because I used to cry day and night. But he could tell me, please, don't run away. You stay. Be strong. God will remember us. So he got some little money. He told me we are going. I got a room in town. We go. When I told my mother-in-law, she said, hey, I also have, how much do you have? I told her we had 70,000. She also gave me 70,000. I don't know. So we went to town, and that's how we started living in town. So that one meant we had to depend upon my mother-in-law. to get food every now and then. We could go to the village to get food. And that food, I don't know whether it was good food or not.
It was a point of contact.
Yeah, so every day we could go there. But what amazes me, you could reach there, she had already packed everything for you. We never had phones that we used to call her, no communication. But she could say, I saw you coming, so I packed this food and I'm here, I'm seated here, just waiting for you. She could, yeah, she has packed everything. Food, sauce, some money. You could go back like that. Sometimes, if you needed plates, you could find a dozen of plates she has bought for you. Clothes, she buys. It was too much for us. And then Erica started falling sick. That is at age of 2. And falling sick. When Erica fell sick, whenever we used to rush at the hospital. In the hospital, Erica could not get better. No power. Erica could not get better. Then my sister-in-law told me that every time, whenever she falls sick, you bring her to Kampala, the hospital. So every time Erica fell sick, I could carry Erica to the hospital, to Kampala. They would money for transport to take him to Kampala. And then I reach there, she's not there. And yet the girl has collapsed. I go there crying. Every time I reach her place, Erica would get better.
And my brother will also be sick.
And my brother will be sick this way. The father would take the boy to the hospital. Me, I'm in Kampala. I sleep there one night. The following day I'm back. I find Evans very sick. But Evans used to take him to the hospital here in Jinja. Children, we suffered like that. Till one day I said no. There are hospitals around. I should be taking Erica to the hospitals around. So I started taking Erica to the hospital. Money to take her to the hospital would be there, but money for food would never be there. God is a great God, brethren. Erica, time came for Erica to go to school. And even uniform we could not afford. But we struggled through thin and thick. Erica was able to join preschool, and also went through primary. She was a bright girl. Then when she was in primary, I think primary 4, things became worse. My husband could not get any money. So he said, let me go on an island to look for money to cut timber. So my husband went. And I had to take this Erica and the brother to the village. They went to the village. To my children, my son fell sick. And we dreamt with my husband. The boy was very sick. So he said, no, in the morning, when my husband came back, said, no, I dreamt when I was on the island, I dreamt when I was away that my son was very sick. Therefore, let me go and check on the children. I told him, okay, go and check on them. But if they are sick, bring them back. When he reached there, he found Evans very sick and told my mother-in-law that I'm taking my children back. She said, no, you cannot do that. You only take Evans, but not Erica. Erica, I'm staying with her. She's mine. They argued until my husband had to give in. Brought Erica. Erica was crying, Daddy, I go with you. But the grandmother said, you are going nowhere. So that's the time Evans came. And what they wanted to do is perform rituals when Evans was not there, because Evans was to report whatever was happening at home. So when Evans came when Evans came back home, the following day they rushed Erica to the shrine. That's the day they initiated her. Those of you who have heard her story.
That's the time I was taken to the graveyard. Yeah.
So they went to the graveyards in Kamuli, that's Waiswa, and my mother-in-law introduced her to her ancestors. The graves of her ancestors. And we didn't know. So Erica came back. We went for Erica after, when the schools were beginning. There was a crusade. So we went to the crusade. When they touched Erica, they were praying for people, Erica just collapsed. I was scared. But I thought Erica was pretending because many people were collapsing. So I said, Mama, I'm ashamed. I'm a Sunday school teacher. How can this be? Erica, she's imitating these other people. So I got her, afterwards I got her, I took her home and said, Erica, never do such a thing. You are shaming us. We are Christians. People never behave like that. She looked at me with hatred. She was bitter. She kept quiet. Because Erica never wanted to go to the village, but I used to force her to take her there because I knew that her grandmother loved her, yet her grandmother hated her. I don't know whether she hated her. She wanted her to inherit those things of witchcraft. And then we went to church. So they were praying for the children. They were prophesying over them. And Erica fell down and started moving like a snake. I got ashamed. I got out of the church. And then the pastor came and told me, Pastor Robert Kawa came and told me, what's wrong with your girl? Better pray for this girl. Something is wrong. I said, no, there's nothing wrong. Because her grandmother loves her so much. She cannot do anything to her. And we cannot do anything to her. Erica is okay. She's just imitating other people. The pastor said, no, Erica is not okay. You need to pray for Erica. I said, when I talked to Erica, Erica was just bitter. Now, in the village, my mother-in-law used to practice witchcraft. Many people used to come. They could bring her goats, bring her chicken, bring her white clothes, money, a lot of things. But she could chase us away from the house. You go somewhere, and we are going to have visitors. Even the fathers, the Catholic priests used to come there.
Politicians.
They used to come there and they could chase us away. And if they have come to pray, then why don't we pray with them? Say, no, you go to your house. Leave us alone. And I used to wonder what kind of prayers were these priests praying with this old woman. And they never wanted us to be there to pray with them. So we had to obey because she was an old woman. We had to obey her. So we went back, and as we could go back, she could tell me, better come to the village and stay here. But my sister-in-law hated me. She never wanted me to be in the village. Every time I went there, she could behave funny. She hated me. She was bitter with me. And I didn't know why she was bitter with me. So my husband said, no, we stay in town. Let us struggle, we shall make it. And I started praying. That's the time I started praying seriously. I said, something is funny. Something is wrong with us. Why were you behaving like me, suffering like this? And somehow, God was making a way for us. So my husband started working and was getting some little money. When we took time not going home, like maybe a month, not going home for food, they could get worried. What they were worried about is that now we are making money, we were no longer depending on them. We're no longer depending on them. And sometimes somehow I could feel something telling me, you get some food and take to your mother-in-law because she has been looking after you. You so look, help her, okay? My husband could say, don't go there. But my heart would say, no, this woman has helped us a lot. Let me go and see her. So I could buy food, maybe meat, some sugar, bread, and say, let me go and see my mother-in-law. By the time I reach there, she's ready for me. I find she has already packed food that I saw you coming, and then I packed this food for you. But then she could ask me, where is the money? I said, no, I have no money. I said, I have no money. Then she could say, every time you buy bread and meat or sugar, please save something for me. Or it's better you leave bread and bring that money to me. And I said, you mean you don't want to eat bread? In the villages, there are no bread. And she could say, no, that man, your husband, I got him from somewhere. But he's a rebellious man. I want his sisters to go and offer thanksgiving to the place where I got him from. And I said, where did you get him from? I said, she told me she was barren. And because she was barren, she prayed to God to give her a son. And she never had a son, to give her children. Even the girls, she got them from the shrine. That's what she said. But then when she wanted a boy, she had to go back again to ask for a boy. So she wanted money from him, his money, not my money, but his money, to take the shrine. And that one scared me. I started thinking about it, and then I prayed. I prayed to God. I said, God, have mercy upon us. And then something that God opened my eyes to see that this woman was a real witch, because how she used to see me going home and she could prepare everything for me without even me calling her that I'm coming. I said, God, close her eyes. Close even her, her mind. Let her not see me anywhere.
Okay, about saying before that prayer for God to close her eyes, talk about this scenario when you lost your child and how you were made to be like an expectant mother for 9 years from there.
After I gave birth to this Erica and Evans, it was normal delivery. Then I conceived the third born. When I was 8 months, I had a dream that that I was overbleeding.
You were 8 months
pregnant, yes.
Expecting the third child.
The third child. I dreamed and I was overbleeding, and I was rushed. They were rushing me to the hospital. And while I was going to the hospital, my child passed on, my baby. I told my husband that I have had a bad dream, and said, what kind of dream? And I told him, he said, I don't know what you are talking about. Then I told him, I think I should go to the hospital. He said, are you feeling bad? I said, no, I'm not feeling bad, but I'm scared. He said, I don't know what that means. So he went to work in the morning. I remained at home, but I was scared. I said, God, take over. God save my life. That is all the prayer I prayed. So by midday, I started bleeding. Seriously, I started bleeding. I sent someone to look for my husband. By that time, we never had phones. So I had sent someone to go and look for him. That was my brother. My brother looked for him. He was working somewhere, but he had friends they could move around doing work. So he looked for him until we got him. Told him, you rush home. My sister is not okay. He came running because this one, he can run. He runs faster than a bicycle. So he came running home. He asked me, what is it? I told him, look at me. Then he said, okay, started running back to go and get a vehicle to take me to the hospital. I told him, rush, I'm dying. So he rushed to the hospital. He rushed to get a vehicle. He took me to the hospital. By the time we reached the hospital, my life was going. It was in the evening now. At that time there was fireworks. It was a very bad, that day people were hiding. It was not a good day for us. So he went looking for the doctors who were not in the hospital. They told him he has gone, he's drinking somewhere, in a bar somewhere. He went from bar to bar looking for doctors. New Year,
31st, I think.
Yeah. Yes. He went to bars looking for doctors. We got this bar, they said the other bar, another bar. So and he was just running on foot. He was sweating. My husband was scared, but the other time I was dying. That's Ginger Mine Hospital.
This is a government hospital. The doctors have decided to go and drink. They were neglecting the patients. Oh my God.
So my husband ran until God helped him. He found one doctor drinking. He told him, please come and help me.
One doctor drinking?
Yes, they were all drinking.
And he has to come and attend to the patients.
So he came with the doctor. The doctor said, okay, let me come and help you. So he ran back and the doctor said he's coming. But this one had to run faster to come and see the situation why he had left me. So the nurses were preparing me to take me to the theater, but the doctor was
drinking.
But
and that is the same doctor that has to do an operation.
Yeah, that was the doctor.
What's the name of that doctor?
I don't even remember the doctor.
Oh my God.
So the doctor came one after the nurses had prepared me because they had mercy upon my husband. He was crying, he was sweating. He said, please, please have mercy upon me. He was pleading with them. And for me, I told him, my life is going because I could feel like the pressure getting out of the bicycle. Now my life was going slowly like that. I told my husband, I don't think I'll make it. But he said, please, please, please don't die now. Don't. Now the doctor came and they rushed me to the theater. They tried to help me. They thought I had died. So they left me. The baby was still kicking. They tried the baby. At that time, the baby also packed, and that's the baby collapsed. And then they saw me raising. They said I raised my hand, and that's when they turned back to help me. They tried. I lost a lot of blood, and the baby had died. And my husband was saying, "Where are they?" He was at the theater crying, praying and crying, toiling. They was fearing to take me out of the theater because they were fearing to see him, that he was going to ask for the baby and ask for the wife. Now they were, now what do we do? Let's go in a group. They were saying, no, let's go in a group, so that he will forget about whatever is happening. So they went in a group, put me on bed, and they surrounded me. He came. They told him, "No, you wait." So they were trying to make him settle down. Because they had no way of telling him that the baby is dead and your wife anytime. I was just there. So I was there for some time, and then he came. They told him, "Come, let us go and help the baby." So they wanted him to keep calm with me, so that for them they're helping the baby. Yet the baby had died. That night he went through with me. Then in the morning he asked them, "But where is my baby? Everybody here has a baby. Where is my baby?" The doctor said, "Can we tell him? Can we not?" So they gathered and called him, got hold of him and said, "Please settle down. If your wife has survived, the baby couldn't survive. Thank God that she's okay, but the baby has died." My husband didn't know what to do. He started crying. He was alone in the hospital. So the only thing he had to do was to run and get a vehicle to take the body to the hospital.
We went
to take the body, the village.
in the morning, to go and bury our brother.
So in the morning, he got someone, a good Samaritan, a friend of his, gave him a vehicle. He took these over cars and they went to the village to bury. But when they reached home, what amazed him?
Grandmother.
My mother-in-law was seated at the veranda. She said, "Where is the dead body? I saw it all, how it started and how it has ended, and I saw you come. Now give me the baby, give me the body. I want it now." Wow. My husband couldn't resist because he just also they got the body and gave her. She went inside with my other brother-in-law. They covered themselves with the bed sheet and they performed the rituals on that baby. They did a lot. As these people were digging the grave, because he had rushed back to the hospital, they were doing their things. I don't know whatever they did.
Even incest.
Yeah, whatever they did, it's only God who knows. But they had covered themselves with the body and with the bed sheet. And after they buried, they came. She also came. I think she had come to finish me, but God is a great God. God could not allow such to happen to me. When she came, she decided to take care of me, and she was asking me, "How did you pray? Tell me, how did you pray? Can you pray the prayer you prayed? Because I saw it all. How did you survive? Your God must be a great God. Tell me, how did you pray?" I said, "I prayed as people pray." I was in the hospital for 6 days, and then I came back. But she was not happy. She was not happy. So she went back home, not happy, because I had survived. I was to be sacrificed, but a great God kept me.
So afterwards, is that the time you went for family planning?
Now, after that pregnancy, I went for family planning. I went to my sister-in-law. And I told her, we're not doing well. I need family planning. She's the one who told me to go to her place because she was doing it. Anyway, so I went there to help me. She started a coil. But immediately she finished, I was feeling fire all over my body. I told her, "Remove it, I'm dying." She said, "But you are very poor. How will you manage to take care of the children? You need it." I said, "Remove it, I'm dying. I cannot even reach home." So she removed it, and after I said, "Let me now rest and go back home." She said, "No, I'm going to put another one. Maybe I'd put it badly." So she put another one. I said, "Okay." She put another one. But that was the beginning of my suffering. My entire stomach started swelling. After 2 months, I went back. I said, "I don't want it anymore. Remove it. If I get children, God will take care of them. I don't want it anymore." So she removed it. I said, "But you are going to suffer." Then I said, "Let me suffer with my children. God will take care of them." I went back. My stomach started swelling. I could feel pain all over me. I conceived. the third again, now the fourth.
born.
At 3 months, it got out. I miscarried. Then I asked her, why is my stomach so, paining like this? She said, I don't know. I said, is there any family planning I can use apart from the coil? She said, I don't know. And I said, if you are the leader of family planning, then why can't you help me? I said, I don't know. She kept quiet. And that was it. So my stomach started swelling. And the swelling, I went to the doctor. They told me I had fibroids. Wow. So it swelled for 10 years. It was swollen.
Like a 9 pregnancy.
And people used to call me the woman who is pregnant every day, but I'm not giving birth. And that was a time when Erica was could become very, very sick. I could go to the hospital, stand. My stomach is swelling, my legs are swelling, my eyes are swelling, but I had to stand besides Erica to make sure that Erica is not falling off the bed. We suffered for those 10 years. It was terrible, but God is great. God is great. So then I started praying. As I prayed, Pastor Kawa Robert told me I should pray. It's witchcraft, but the pain was severe. So I said, no, let me go to the hospital for operation. So I went to, again, the main hospital, Ginger Main Hospital. I made arrangements with the doctor. When I came back home, my spirit said, no, don't go there. That's not a hospital for you. So out of the blue, I rushed to main hospital and I found a Christian doctor. He told me he was going to help me through. So I went to the hospital as planned, but as we were going, I nearly died with my husband. I left home, I cried for my children, I was praying, I hid myself, I cried, I was praying for Erica. God save Erica, let Erica keep Evans. Let them, please God save my children. I prayed, I thanked God for their lives. I prayed, I dedicated them to God. I could run, cry to God. For days, I cried before I went to the hospital.
Mothers, this is very important. You have to pray for your family. You have to pray for your children. You have to pray for them. She's telling you that she even amidst everything she was experiencing, whatever she went through, all those challenges, the pain, she did not stop praying for me. She did not stop praying for my brother, and she did not stop praying for her husband. So today, when you see us serving God, we are an answer to her prayer. That's why when we began, I began by telling you that she is a pillar, one of the pillars in our family. She's a God-given pillar in the family. So today we stand because of her prayers. I breathe today because of her prayers. He's alive today because of her prayers. And Mom, thank you so much. We love you. And God, we just pray that He adds you more years of joy. And right now, He's connecting you to our friends. Yeah, you're making friends. They love you. I know there are parents who are experiencing hard times with their families and they're getting encouraged. So we want to encourage every mother and every father, if you're watching, to pray for your children, pray for your family. Don't give up. Okay, so go to hospital.
So the day, 2 days before I went to the hospital, I told Erica, I want to go to tell your grandmother that I'm going for operation. Erica told me, Mommy, don't go. I said, no, I'm leaving you here alone. I'm going with your dad. Now who will take care of you? So Erica cried and cried, but I just said, no, that's not the way to go. Let me go and tell them I'm going for operation. Now I take Erica and Evans with me to escort me to the grandmother in the village to say bye, that I'm going to the hospital. When I told them, my mother-in-law danced and said, yeah, this is the time I've been waiting for. I have planted we have a lot of food now. This is where we shall start. Which means I was going to die, and that was the food that people were going to eat. She danced, and I looked at her. She was not even worried. Then she went to the house. She got bed sheets. They were
the bed sheets they used for the child.
She got the bed sheets, and she told me these bed sheets are for the hospital. Do not use them with your husband at home. Just carry them, and when you are going to the theater, use them. Brethren, When I reached, Erica told me, "Mommy, I told you not to come here. Why have you come?" But I had to tell them, Erica. She was young, but she was arguing with me. I told her, let's go back. And we went. Those bed sheets were evil bed sheets. They were evil bed sheets. So when I reached home, I told my husband, I told him what they had told me. She said, no, we are going to use these bed sheets. So let us use them, we shall wash them and you go with them. So I put those bed sheets on the bed, we used them, and then we slept on the bed sheets. I washed them, I packed. When we reached the hospital, brethren, God is a God of, I don't know, it's a merciful God. When we reached the hospital, the doctor asked me, do you have bed sheets? I said, yes. Which ones? I told him this one. Said, no, those are not bed sheets. I'm not going to use those bed sheets.
Because he was born again.
Those bed sheets are not good. I said, but they are new. He said, no. I said, I don't want them. I had my auntie, my mother's sister. She asked her, do you have some bed? She said, yes. Why? She said, yes. Bring those ones. I thank God for my auntie. She's still alive, but very sick. So my auntie gave her bed sheets. She had come to look after me. She gave me her bed sheets, and those are the bed sheets I went with the theater. I told her to pray for me. My brethren, my sisters, my brothers, my uncle, they all started interceding for me. I went to the theater. The doctor told me pray before I start. I prayed. I said, God, do not take my life. My children are very young. I need to look after them. We are poor, but God, I know you are rich. You are not going to allow me to die. And thank God. The doctor said, now you have prayed, believe God, you'll be okay. Doctor treated me. After the theater, he took me back. When I gained the consciousness, he told me, I need a blanket for you, because for me, I knew no blanket. We used never to cover ourselves with a blanket because of the heat in our bodies. My husband, at night, we used to sleep without covering ourselves. There was heat, as if we were in an oven, both of us. So we never used to cover. Even if we had bed sheets, we just put aside.
And those are some of the signs that someone is under a spell, or there is witchcraft operating against someone's life. You just feel that heat in your body. It's abnormal. Of course, it's normal to feel hot sometimes, but this abnormal heat, even if it's on a cold day, you're feeling hot in your body, you're feeling the temperatures are high, and yet you're not even sick. Sometimes you even feel you have the signs and symptoms of sicknesses, like you have the headache, you're throwing up, you go to hospital, they check you, you don't have any sickness, and sometimes you feel things are walking in your body, you go for x-rays, you go for scans, but the doctors cannot find anything related to sickness, and then they begin to give you medicine basing on guesswork. You don't have to take those medicines. It has also happened to me before. The only solution to that kind of situation is prayer. So, yes. So
we never used to cover with the bed sheets, with blankets. So I never carried the blanket to the hospital. So the doctor asked, after I gained the consciousness, they said, no, you need to cover yourself with a blanket. I told him I never carried a blanket. And when I called my sister-in-law, who lives in Kampala, that bring me a bed sheet, a blanket, the doctor said I should cover myself with a blanket. I said, I'm bringing one. The doctor asked me, are you going to get a blanket? I said, yes. The doctor ran home and brought his own blanket.
He was a Christian.
And covered me. So when my sister-in-law came with the blanket, my God, it was stinking like urine, fish. And the doctor came and said, what is stinking in the ward? I said, I don't. When he tried to open the blanket, I said, no, you lock it in the wardrobe. It is stinking. I said, now, how can you bring to a patient such a blanket sticking like this? So we covered it. Said, don't even open it, don't touch it. So I used his blanket, the doctor's blanket, until I left the hospital. Now, in the hospital, and my sister came and told me the food I was not supposed to eat. And that's the food that doctor told me to eat, and the food that she told me not to eat. When I asked the doctor, but why am I not supposed to eat matoke and Irish potatoes? He said, but that's the food you're supposed to eat. But she was telling me, don't eat this. It will do harm to you. The doctor told me, this is the food you're supposed to eat. Now the doctor told me, listen to me. Do not listen to anybody. I'm the one treating you. said, amen. So as he prayed with me, they could pray for me. Then one day, was meaning a day before he left the hospital. I never had money for the hospital. I had half the money. I think it was 1,500,000. But I had 500,000. I did not have 1 million. And then a doctor told me, you are going? It was 1 million because I was supposed to be there for 7 days. So I had 500. Then he told me, I want you to clear the money. Tomorrow, after tomorrow, you are leaving. I told him, okay. So when I called the people at home, his people, I don't know what happened. I just heard a voice telling me, what?
That you make a will.
Make a will. When your sister comes, my sister, the one I love so much. I have my sister called Anna. I love her so much. Anna, wherever you are, know that I love you so much. So much. Anna, you are my sister. I love you so much. When Anna used to come every day, she's working. So she could come at lunchtime and I could eat with only Anna. Without Anna, I could not eat food. So Anna was coming. That day she came late. And I was waiting. They said, they'll give you food. I said, no, I want Anna. I want Anna to come and eat with Anna. I share what I have with Anna. I want to eat with the same plate with my sister Anna. So Anna came running because she was late. She wanted to go back to work. So as Anna was coming in, I had a voice telling me, quickly make a will. Today you must make a will. Leave the children to Anna. Leave your children to Anna. And another spirit told me, don't make a will. Do not make a will. And another force is telling me, make a will. Leave the children to Anna. But another one telling me, no, don't try to do that. So Anna comes late. And when Anna came, Anna just stood there and said, Bena, I'm sorry, I'm not going to eat with you. I'm late. I've just come to say hello. I'm going back to work. Because of transport, I couldn't make it. But at least I've seen you okay. Let me go back. I was so disappointed. I slept. I refused to eat food. And then my life, the vomiting, I changed it, everything. They called them back. Even Anna could not go back to work. When they called her, she rushed back. I said, what is it again? I left you okay. I said, I don't know. Anna is standing with me, So she stood there crying. They said, we were praying for me. She didn't know what was in my heart because I had not told her. Little did I know that they wanted me to make a will. Then I died. But the Spirit of God told me not to. Insisted me not to make a will. When I came back from the hospital, I had to stay there for more days because of that. The doctor came and said, no, this is spiritual. Pray. We prayed, and then I started getting better. And then when I came back, I called, those people came to see me, and I told one of my sister-in-law that, at the time I was to make something was telling me to make a will, but another heart told me not to make a will. Said, you are very bad, you could have made a will. What stopped you from making a will? And she hated me. She turned the other side and walked away. And I was wondering, what was the will for? That's when I knew that if I had made a will, I was supposed to die that very day.
You would have surrendered your life.
I was going to surrender my life to the devil and die. But God protected me because He's a faithful God. And that's why I live up to this day.
And when we were praying for her, after I was delivered, when we were doing deliverance on her, there were certain sounds of birds crying from her stomach, and her stomach was swelling and swelling like it's going to burst. Then all of a sudden, there is a gas that came from her stomach, and it contract. Yes, and it went down back to normal. And when those birds began to make sound in her stomach, we realized that grandmother used to bring chicken to her every time she would visit, and that chicken would come straight from shrines, and every time she would eat, they would continue to afflict her. Those are the things that were moving in her stomach, and she would feel like they move like that, those movements of a baby in a womb of an expecting mother. And she would feel those pains like she's expecting, and her legs would swell. So whatever was happening to her was as a result of witchcraft. And because of that, she was not able to dress normally like a normal person. She was always dressed like an expecting mother. But today, by the grace of God, she's free, and she's praying for people who have been victimized by the enemy through witchcraft. So if you're there and you're in Uganda, you need someone to pray with. You need someone to stand with you in faith. You can visit them at Real Spiritual Life Center. The church is located on Kamuli Road. It's located on Kamuli Road. You just need to contact them on the numbers that we gave you, and you'll be there. They'll stand with you in prayer. So
Something to say.
yeah.
Now, Erica's talking about chicken. After the hospital, I came back and I stabilized. Then my mother-in-law, she was really hurt why I came back to normal. So she came to see me. And Erica knew, I think Erica knew what was going on. Then Erica, she was...
I knew, but I could not speak because of that spell that she had placed on my life.
So Erica, that was when she had just completed senior. For her results came back, and I told her to go and get the results. When she came back dancing, "Mommy, I have passed. Mommy, I have passed." And the grandmother grabbed her and said, "I'm your grandmother. You are going nowhere. You are past what? You are not going to study again." But I thank God Erica went through it and studied, because I prayed for this girl. I prayed without ceasing. Even going to do her papers, I used to pray every morning, wash her clothes, iron them, and say, "Erica, you are going to school. You are going to do the papers, and you are going to complete your examinations." She could come back home. "Mommy, good evening." And she wants, I say, "You are not going to vomit, to faint. You are not going to the hospital. Erica, you are alive." I could lay hands on her, pray for her. And you know, Erica made it. And she passed. Thank God that Erica passed. But then, when the grandmother went back after I came from the hospital, she came, stayed with me for some time, but she was doing what that she did. Wanting to do things, even entering my bedroom. In our culture, mother-in-law is not supposed to enter your bedroom. That one is not allowed.
Most African cultures,
yes.
It's not.
But for her, she was forcing her way to enter my bedroom, but she could get lost. Can you imagine? Getting lost. The room is there, but she could go to another room. My room is there, but she could go to another room. One time I was seated with her, and I saw my body just getting stretched out. My hands, I couldn't even put them down. She was sitting with me. My husband had gone to watch soccer. I think she went with the children. He went with the children. I stayed alone at home with her. I was sitting in the sitting room, but I was going. My life was going out of me. So God somehow helped me. I sneaked into my room and I closed the door. I'd be praying, but I was dying. And then she knew what she was doing, because we were just the two of us at home. So she tried to open my door. She went outside the house. She came back, and went out through another door. So she came back disappointed and sat in the sitting room. When my husband came back, said, "I am disappointed. How could she do such a thing to me?" He did what? I couldn't get to her. I wanted to be with her, but she entered the room and I could not open the door. I said, "No, it's night. Why don't you sleep?" I wanted to be with her, but I'm disappointed. So she went and hid behind the cupboard, just near the cupboard. She was hiding. As I passed going to the loose, she could jump. She became as small as a cat, hiding behind like this, and then she jumped. You just feel the heat like fire. Then when I looked behind, I saw her. She could coil like. I said, "What's wrong with this person?" So I told my husband, this woman is not okay. She's doing something funny.
And then one time I caught her placing some things in her food. Yes, and what I did, I just grabbed her plate instead and I rushed it to Mommy. I exchanged the plate. So I got her plate and I rushed it to my mom, and she knew what I had done. So she was not happy with me because I had refused for my mom to eat from whatever she was planting in her food. And when she tried to attack me, I told her, "If you attack me further, I'm going to tell my mom what you were trying to do in her food." So my mom ate, she did not eat. Possibly she could have been trying to poison her, but by the grace of God, today she's alive.
And then the chicken. She sent me one day, a hen with matoke. But when I looked at those things, my spirit rejected. I decided to go and throw very far. I carried all the food she brought to me at night. And I went and threw it very far with my husband. He escorted me. We went together, we threw the food away on a dustbin. Now we came home, at night we slept. In the morning, I saw the hen come back. Looking people's gates, it was checking. I said, hey, that's the black hen. It was black. It was checking on people's gates, checking until it checked ours and entered. I said, my God, where is it going? Then it came direct to where I was sitting. I said, the blood of Jesus, blood of Jesus. The hen became like it was drunk. Eh? It was, I started praying against that hen. So it went around the house and disappeared. The following day it was there again for 3 days. Then one day I saw some people, these Karamadongas, they go hunting for food. And the hen was there. I said, if you want to eat that hen, you can take it. And they said, thank you. Because they took the hen and strangled it. But the hen came into my stomach. And the kicking in my stomach. I couldn't put on anything. I cried for days. When they prayed for me, I started saying, Kyo.
That's how you got delivered.
The hen went away and I got delivered.
Today she's free, she's normal. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for supporting us, for making it possible for us to avail this content to you. Our books are available on Amazon, they are available on our website, in the Uganda bookshop, Enjoy bookshop, and Aristoc bookshops. Just ask for Erica's books, Erica and Bamboo. They'll give you all the books. Yeah, may God richly bless you. We love you.
We love you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Erica served Satan for 18 years. After her deliverance through the Lord Jesus Christ, she traveled throughout Uganda ministering and testifying of her experiences in churches, schools, and at any gathering of people where she could speak. One day after ministering in a Ugandan village called Midiana, they had an accident while riding on a small motorbike after a crusade. Erica's wounds were so deep that she died. Erica explains what she saw after she passed. She describes heaven, some of the different levels, and how she entered into that glorious place. She describes the angel of death, his operations, and the inner workings of the kingdom of darkness. Download this book and bring fires of revival back into your life. From lifeisspiritualministries.org. God bless you.